Hi, and welcome to episode 14 of Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Anyway, with this episode, I was kind of wanting to cover. I was going to have an in house guest today, but we're in no show. So I am going to be covering a subject of how I came across an old time racket stringer. And that story behind that, it was really fascinating how that happened. But also, just wanted to tell you that right now this week they do have the clay court, red clay in Madrid playing. One of the stops that they have before they go on to the French Open clay. Stan Wawrinka is there, Sloane Stevens, some of the big names that are out there are there this week and playing in Madrid. Very nice setting, very beautiful courts, very nice. I wish I had the opportunity to play on clay, but I have not yet. So that would be an experience to do and to have that to play on clay. Anyway, for the fact that how I came across the old stringer is kind of an interesting story because I'm on Facebook and some groups that they have on Facebook, they actually have tennis groups that are in Facebook. And one of them is Unstrung Heroes. So I joined the group, and then every once in a while you get a clip or a picture of old tennis rackets, and people talk about their collection. There was one guy that I saw his collection. He has a website for his collection in Norway, and it was really cool. Wish I could get a hold of him and interview him with his collection too. That would be a good interview. Somehow call them or whatever, I don't know, or try to get Zoom or something, figure that out one day. But anyway, how I ended up with that is with finding is one day when I was looking through the pictures and a picture popped up, and it was a picture of a racket stringer that is probably made in probably 1950s, early 60s, as they were coming out and they were making tennis racket stringers at the time. And it said he said the guy, his name is Tony. I believe he lives in North Dakota, but his mom lives in Chicago, and he took a picture of it. It's an old stringer. It says, "Look what I found in my mom's attic." So in a way that you can also message those people. And so I messaged him and got a hold of him. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I used to have one of those stringers, but it got thrown out by accident. But it was the stringer that I had at one time, probably a little bit better condition than this one, but that's still okay." But I was asking him then if he would want to get rid of it, or if he, would ship it to me. I'd pay him for shipping, or however it might have been. And I didn't hear anything back. He said, "Oh, that's cool. It's in my mom's attic. When I go there next, I'll take a look at it and pick it up." I said, "Oh, that'd be great. And I would pay for shipping if you want me to." And he said, "Well, I'll see what I can do." But I didn't hear from him for probably maybe 3 weeks or so, or more. And I hit him up with a message again, and then he got back to me. He goes, "Well, hey, I'm going to be in 3 weeks. I'm going to be going to Chicago to go see my mom, and I'm going to pick it up. And I'll be driving through where I'm at is in the Minneapolis area. and I'll be driving through there and I could drop it off. And I said, oh, that'd be kind of cool. So, I just waited and, didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden one day I got this message, and the message was that he was going to be going to Chicago on the 26th of this month and 24th, I think, or 26th. Anyway, he did. He went to Chicago and picked it up. And it was, then I heard from him. And then he said that he would be letting me know whenever he was going to be coming back through here on his way back to North Dakota. And so with that, he then finally let me know about when he would be coming through the next, he would let me know, and then he'd be coming through the next day. Now, I do want all you YouTubers, just be sure and subscribe to my channel, and like if you like, and then leave a comment if you want to leave a comment, and let me know that way. For the racket of the day that I'm going to be showing you, for you podcasters, if you want to take a look at what I'm talking about, then you can always go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and you can see what I'm talking about with the racket of the day. So be sure and take a look at it, give a comment, like, and subscribe would help me out. Anything you can do to help would be nice. Or give comments and suggest what you might like to hear from me about tennis, or anything you want me to talk about. And let me know. So anyway, he did let me know that he was going to be coming through here the weekend. On the Saturday is what he was going to be coming through. So I told him how to get here. And so anyway, he let me know that he was going to probably get here somewhere about 11 o'clock by what his GPS told him, and I gave my address. And so I was pleasantly waiting, waiting for him to come. And so I decided what I'd do, just so he'd know where I live on the porch, on one of the porch posts. I leaned a tennis racket up against the post, and it was leaning up against it. So then when he drove by and was there, he could see the racket and he'd know what place it was. So that was kind of cool then. So anyway, he pulled up pretty much on time, and I, small chit chat. He actually in North Dakota, from a small town. He does still play tennis, but he's kind of retired, not as much as what he used to. He's into badminton now. And badminton, he says, really works you out, along with like pickleball. But badminton, it has very similar moves to tennis. And he showed me a couple of his rackets that are about $300 rackets with badminton. But he says they're really pretty good. He strings them too, and he's a stringer also. So that's kind of a nice thing. And he was talking about one of the stringers he had that he didn't use anymore, and so he sold it to somebody. And then I invited him in if he wanted to come see my racket collection in my room. I gladly showed him to him, and then he saw my stringer out there. Yeah, the Gamma stringer is what I end up having, and then I showed him a little bit of my tennis room, and he was very impressed with all the rackets that I have and the oldness of them, and was very pleased with how the room is set up with what I have with all of my rackets too. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, you YouTubers, and you podcasters. Like I said, if you want to see what I'm going to be talking about, and also see what I'm going to be talking about, the stringer that I ended up picking up. By the way, he just dropped it off, and he just said, here, and he gave it to me. So it's going to fit in with my collection very well. But leave a comment and a like if you want, a comment on what you'd like for me to talk about. And I would be gladly research and try to talk about that. So anyway, I showed him the room, and then talked a little bit more about badminton with him. And somewhere in North Dakota, they have a badminton club that he was going to be stopping off at before he went home. So he was hoping to get some badminton in. So it looked really, really an interesting game. A lot of wrist flicks. Don't have to hit it hard. You can hit a very changing of just the slight direction of the racket. You can turn it in from like a drop shot. You could turn it into a lob with the little birdie that you hit with the badminton racket. But very interesting what he was talking about, and how he showed me a little bit, and he showed me the strings that he strings his racket, his badminton racket with, and the main strings are really, really thin strings, and then the cross strings are a little bit thicker, but not nearly. The strings are very a lot thinner than what tennis strings are. Yeah, but still, nevertheless, he says it's fairly the same as trying to string a tennis racket. But he says you're sharing the same holes in a badminton racket than than a lot of the tennis rackets. You're not sharing the holes. You've got the main hole that you're going to put it in and string it through the racket in doing so. But with that, without any ado here, this right here is the stringer that he picked up at his mom's attic in Chicago. And this is actually where you could have it and tighten it up against where put the racket here, tighten the racket down with the screws, and then you could then string the racket that way. And then here, right on this side, is where the crank, so you could crank it around here. And if you see right here is what the poundage is that you could crank it at. So you'd crank, and then it'd pull, and then it would pull it to the poundage that you want. Now, this is the exact same one that I had in my garage, that it accidentally got thrown away. So can't do anything about that. But I'm just glad that I came across it and found it again, and it just really ended up being really nice. And I do thank you very much for that, Tony. Very nice of you to give to me like you did, and that you made the trip through here. And I do appreciate it. And it's going to fit in very nice with my collection of tennis. So that would be it. It's really small space. So it's really would be difficult to try to get the strings and the main strings and then the cross strings, because you're reaching out and going over under with the weave of the strings of a racket. So, but still with that, you YouTubers, you can see it. You podcasters, like I said, if you want to go and take a look at what I'm talking about with this old stringer here, be sure and go to my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk. Subscribe, leave a comment, what you think, and that would be it. Very, very productive. I even strung a racket on the old one I had at one time, and it worked out fairly decent. So it does work. And you have the clamps that you can clamp with it, and they're old steel clamps is what they are. They're kind of more plastic and nicer on the strings nowadays, but these are steel clamps that I use. I still use the two steel clamps that I had from the old one with my racket stringer today, and they still work really good. So like I said, go to my tennis YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and subscribe, leave comments, let me know what you think of leave a comment, and I will of what you want me to talk about, I'll do that. And then just hope you enjoyed that. I thoroughly did in having something like that back in my collection again. Now, without further ado here, I do want to talk to you now about it's a old Spalding racket, and there's this S for Spalding, and it's a Spalding called the Davis Cup racket. This is probably around in about the 1970s or so racket that they had. One of the many rackets uh, that Spalding did make under different brand names, like the Crobat, and this happened to be the Davis Cup racket. So that would be the brand name of the name of the racket. And also, like I said, this is also Spalding, and Albert Spalding founded Spalding in 1876 out of Chicago, and he was actually a pitcher for the Chicago White Stockings at the time, and was later on produced and sold baseball clothing to all the sports teams in Chicago at the time. And also with this too, it is also then it is one of the rackets that was then came back, and it was from Belgium is what it was. It's one from the manufacturer in Belgium, because they sent a lot of their rackets to Belgium, and then they formed them into the rackets that the form that they have at the time, and then they sent it back to the U.S. and then they sold them in the U.S. Once they got them back. So that's kind of behind a little bit of the story of what Spalding did. And they were they were shipped to Belgium and then shipped back, and then we sold them here in the U.S. at the stores, A.G. Spalding and Company. So that would be the racket of the day. So I do hope you like it. It's kind of coming delaminated a little bit, so but still very good shape, very straight racket. So I hope you did like it. And now, all you podcasters, like I said, if you want to get a hold of me by comment, let me know on comment. Go to my tennis YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what I might can talk about. Later on, I'm going to be doing another phone interview with another guy that had owned a tennis shop, and that will be coming hopefully next week. I will let you hear the interview, and then I'll make some comments like I did whenever you heard about Cliff Price and his adventure in knowing in having his tennis shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time. But with that too, just like I said, YouTubers, subscribe, like, comment if you can, if you want. Then you podcasters, like I said, if you want to see what I'm talking about, just go to my tennis YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk, and then subscribe to, and make a comment, and then anybody that wants to help, you sure can. Would help that, and any comments that you have with how you want me to go with any kind of subject that you want me to talk about, I will. I'll try to do my best with that also. So that was the two things that I had to show you, and how I came across the old time stringer, which is really a good thing that I came across. I'm really happy I got it, and thank you very much for that, Tony. I do appreciate it very much. And then also thank you very much again for listening and viewing, and I do appreciate that too. So everybody have a nice week in playing tennis, and wherever you're at. If it's nice, that's good that you're getting out and playing. Keep up the good work, and everybody have a nice week. Thank you.